Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're listening or watching us. This is Kat Trulinos, and my guest today is Jeff Wong, actually my assistant host with our new format, and we're going to bring him here in a second. Tadava Cat, Next Level Staging and Design, Living by Design is our goal and really the impetus for the topics that we try to bring you every week now. We're committed to going live with a topic that it is our hope and our joy to bring information that will improve lives, up-level lives, spark information, curiosity for you to do your own research. But these are all tools and information that we have used for several decades, and we want to share it with you. I think whatever we access and absorb in this journey, if we don't give it away, what good is it? So let us know if you are a fan, you do watch or listen to our episodes. If there's some topics that we haven't covered yet, this is, by the way, our 96th episode, a very poignant number in the Fibonacci codes, and Jeff's going to talk about that a little bit, but 9 and 6, real powerful numbers. So I'm very excited to come to you today with some information on how to raise the energy in your home. We've probably all heard, no matter what your age, the term, oh, I just got bad vibes, or wow, that was good vibes, or high five, good vibes. Vibes being vibration. And the bottom line is everything is vibration, frequency, energy, everything. It's amazing. And we're going to dive deep into that and give you some tools and some tricks, very easy and doable. You don't need any special equipment or extra funds or have to be supernatural to do this. And I will tell you from experience that it has made an amazing difference in our home space since we have been doing it. And I don't know how many years it's been now with this. So without further ado, please welcome the love of my life, which I'm going to give a shameless plug for Miracles Online, Finding True and Lasting Love in a Digital World. Jeff actually has a portion in this book with his notes, and it was time that we published this book, that I finished this book, as we just celebrated our 25th wedding anniversary, and Jeff was my Miracle Online back in 1998. Technology was much different. People looked at you kind of strange. Great nuggets, GPS to finding true love, or even just navigating the dating digital world for whatever your intentions are. So without further ado, my Miracle Online, Mr. Jeffrey Spike Wong. Oops. Add to stage. There we go.
Good morning. Oh, there I am.
There you are.
Wow.
Good morning, sweetheart.
Good morning, and good morning to the world. I can't begin to tell you how excited I am that we are actually doing an episode on frequency. Frequency is something that I think affects our everyday lives, every moment that we're awake. It is something that really plays a huge part in our well-being. And I'd like to start by telling everybody in regards to the kind of history I had with frequency and how I came about even deeper as we got more involved researching and in those type of things. Okay. I was introduced to, of course, a lot of metaphysics, Qigong, which is the inner power self, that through a lot of martial arts and whatnot, because I'm, Asian descent, Chinese heritage, and those type of information were given to us in at a very young age. So it isn't just, hey, you can jump around trees and swing a sword or anything like that. Those are movies that we grew up with. But however, if you start to research just off the principle of the Shaolin monks, the Buddhists, and where's the incredible power of chi comes from and all those things, all of a sudden it opens up a whole new world in regards to what's going on. So as I got involved in as I developed my music career in my teens, I read a lot about frequency in the music instruments. And that opened up a whole new ball game in regards to how I thought what music does and what does it, like they always say, the music tames the beast, right? We all heard.
Can you elaborate a little bit on that, Jeff, in terms of just the differences in, and I know, we were both producers, you were the creator of the 13th Note, the movie short
Right.
that was, won so many awards last year, but and that was a juxtaposition of classical and what you call heavy metal. I guess I'm so conditioned now, being 25 years, it doesn't sound like heavy metal to me, but there was just such a marrying of the vibrations and the music. But let's take it on the extreme level. I know there are studies to support, and this is not only the effect on humans, but sound on living things, which plants, of course, are living things, and they've actually tested them, and they flourish under the guise of classical music and kind of, go
Right.
downwards with heavy metal. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, let me start by saying that frequency in how it applies to us comes on such a vast. It's like saying, tell me about the water in the ocean, right? Because it plays so many parts to it. So let me start with something that I think a lot of people who's into frequency may know this, but people who are just now getting into it are not familiar with, which was Dr. Emoto's water experiment, right? This, I think we discovered over 20 years ago that this doctor in Japan decided that they were going to do certain aspect of experiment with words, frequency, sounds, music, into
And thought.
and thought. Yeah, absolutely. Yes. And that's the part I'll bring a circle back to it. But they took music that was playing to a plant, various genre of music, and they documented the results of how that plant behaved. The same with water. If they took a purified, type of a water container, and they played a certain music frequency to it, and then they take it to a powerful microscope and analyze see how the water crystals were formulating, they could actually see distortion when this disharmonic of frequency, in other words, it is not in harmonization of any kind of mathematic parallel or any kind of something that enhances the so-called chemistry that is in the being or in the involvement. Now, let me circle back to about the frequency and intention and thought. This is a first, just to give you an idea. Okay, if we play heavy metal music to plants, they'll wilt and die. We play Mozart, they thrive. Now, you play heavy metal music studying for a class, chances are you're not doing very well. You play Vivaldi, Mozart, things like that for studying, you realize your testing and your retention is much higher. These are all already proven. These are all things that you can go on YouTube and whatnot and help yourself to study or to prepare using frequency to focus. We had an event, just to give you an idea, that a cat can actually give me her intention of frequency from the power of thought. And I can actually receive it with a type of an imagery. Not necessarily always an imagery. Sometimes it just like it comes to me in my own answers of thought. In other words, it's not actually a voice. It's just a so-called recognition of what I actually acknowledged an information come by. So I was making cheeseburgers for dinner the other day. And usually what I do is I make cheeseburgers by grabbing the pound of burgers and just start squeezing into a burger and pound, throw it into the thing, put the salt and pepper on. And what actually happened is that as I was going into preparing, Kat went into her office And as I started to prepare the burger, I opened up the package and I was inspired to go to get a bowl. To get a bowl so I can throw the ground beef into it and start kneading it. Start to really break down the granulate, you know, how the meat grounds into little bits. And now it's becoming a pink mush somewhat. And then I roll it into a ball like you see on all these chef shows and so forth. And I squashed it really nice with the plate. So this made the burger extremely different than what I normally make. And why did I do this? Well, something in my process of going through making dinner interject and came in and superseded my original plan. And I can't explain it other than it's like somebody took a PowerPoint slide and put it into my presentation of cooking. And I went, oh, okay, so we have a new direction. So needless to say, I made this burger and it was beautifully dressed with all the veggies and so forth. And we're proceeding to have dinner. And I explained what I did to Kat. And the first thing she said was, well, I was going to say something, but I decided not to. But you make your burgers too thick. The key thing is she had the intention wanting to tell me. And that thought actually did go to me. And it went into a acknowledgement, recognition. Now, of course, I will just say this. Kat and I have been married 25 years. We met each other under a very unique situation. And it came from because of my studying of frequency and tension. And I did that. And I went out.
I would beg to differ. It was both of our timely settings and intentions, because I had a very clear intention at that time.
That's right. So the intention of the frequency that comes from us really do generate a lot. It's like casting a net or putting a fishing line out there with a certain, specifications and whatnot. And what we have done in development of our own living space and so forth is that we've created a constant vibration frequency throughout the house. So that way there is harmonization. Now, let me just get really clear about this of how you can see different people in different homes. You can go to someone's house who's constantly in turmoil and drama and craziness. You're going, how do you live like this? And that radio is blasting that death metal about world destruction, about failure, about Satan, about death, about, think about this. If you're imprinting, okay, you're the ultimate power source. You're the one with the capacity. And your energy goes into intention, then it drives that energy into frequency that goes out to the universe to basically puzzle the matrix to bring it back in. Now, I don't want to go so deep on this that everybody's going to go, what's he talking about? First and foremost, dealing with frequency, there's so much information out there. You got to take your time and start reading. One of the things I definitely would say is go find books that's been published for decades and do cross references. You can't just go on Google and just do one-time thing and go, oh, well, that must be it. I've been doing this for well over 40 years, and I know Kat's been doing this long before me. So it wasn't just that, oh, we got involved. Hey, they did this thing on Tesla's documentary on Amazon, so let's go Google it. And all of a sudden, oh, well, now we fully understand what this is about. No, as a matter of fact, even before Dr. Emoto, we were looking at stuff like this, So let me give everybody an understanding what frequency is. Frequency is a wave of the energy, right? Wave energy that is measured by X amount of time that it sits in. So if I take something like this, this is a 432 hertz tuning fork. You can hear this. Now that pitch is vibrating like that. Okay? It's vibrating like this. Now, lower frequency could be vibrating like this. Or higher frequency. So the idea of these frequency carries information, carries the energy, the intellect, the intention. Most people are simply not recognizing the power of what these frequencies does. Words are frequency. Hence why you need to be very aware of the words that you use on a daily basis. I don't know, man. It just seems like every day I'm losing out on life. If you walk around every day, keep on going back into the system, feeding that energy with the frequency that vibrates at that low intention. What do you think your result's going to be? Right?
So your mind's job is to carry out the fruition of your thoughts, which come to your words. And that's why, we catch ourselves all the time. I'm catching myself, Jeff, my granddaughter, erase, replace. I mean, I'm not shy. I taught a class the other day, and a lady said, well, if I get the listing, I said, no, when you get the listing, that is because that vibrates such a more powerful frequency for the universe to lift up and 10x that thought and that energy and that intention. Even if you don't fully believe it yet, it's not when, it's not if, it's I am. See yourself there, believe yourself there in a positive way. And the universe, your body, your mind, source, whatever you call source, God, will conspire on your behalf. And you don't even have to worry about the how-tos. That's a whole kind of probably another segment that we'll do on surrendering to universe and letting the universe take care of the how-tos, the details. You don't have to worry yourself with the details. Just know that it is. It is. And so it is.
That's right.
So
yeah,
words are powerful because that's energy that you're putting out into your space and beyond the universe. Because the reality of it is we are all one. We are all connected to source, to rivers, to rocks. I'm connected to you out there. You're connected to me. We are one. What is that we discussed a couple weeks ago, Jeff? The monkey effect.
The 100th monkey.
The 100th monkey. And that's a funny term, but if you think of the power of that, it really is exemplifying the connectivity of energy and thought and vibration. Explain what that is, if you can, in simple terms, or do you want me to? The 100th monkey.
No, go ahead. Because the 100th monkey
it's
effect
the concept,
you brought to my attention.
Okay, it's the concept, because I've been blown away. I don't know if you do, I sometimes think, am I creating this dream myself? Because I'm thinking of something and then it's coming to fruition. Am I that powerful? Yes, I am, and so are you.
Yeah.
That powerful. So
yeah.
The 100th monkey effect is when there's I'm not going to say majority, but there's a hunk, there's a chunk, there's 100 monkeys. There's a big enough concept of energy, of thought, of action, that it then propels into this tsunami wave. And all of a sudden it is across continents, across rivers, across source, mountains and rivers and oceans, etc. And that's what culminates the wow, this is amazing, because I thought I was the only one. But if you are intentional and powerful with your thoughts and your actions and your beliefs, you can affect the 100th monkey effect. I want to touch back to the hamburger story, Jeff, because we are all powerful, more powerful than than we know. And you just need to test yourself in little ways to go, yep, that was a God thing. That was definitely a God thing, which is all source thing. And whether you're a projector or a receiver, and I believe myself to be more probably of a projector, but I'm working on opening up myself to have space to be a receiver. And I really don't think that you can project and have that recipient receive without you being a receiver too, because it's a synchronicity. Would you agree with that, Jeff? In terms
I do believe that. I think there's many level of depth to this. because the frequency affects us in so many different ways. You know, it's not necessarily auditory. Visually is frequency as well.
Oh,
Our eyes are
absolutely.
detecting certain level of frequency, and this is what we're actually seeing. But as we all know, we only see within a certain limits in the frequency that vibrates, that our brain and our optical can actually interpret this. There is a lot of stuff that is vibrating in this universe that we cannot perceive this. But remember the hair standing up on your arm, or the gut feeling, the uneasiness. All these are actually reaction to frequency.
It's your body reacting.
Yes.
And we use, the lemon. I've used it before, the lemon example, to kind of illustrate how powerful just the mind is.
Yep.
And that is, that I just sliced a big juicy lemon and I handed to you to put into your mouth. Shove the whole thing in your mouth, start chewing it up, feeling the juices swirling around in your mouth.
Yep.
The bitter, we can go on and on. But when you do that, I mean, I'm salivating just saying it.
Sure.
And did I put a lemon in my mouth?
No.
Physically? No.
No.
It was strictly by thought, what I recall a lemon to be like and how
Right.
it affects my mouth. And if you think of that, I want to tell you, really resonate with that, how powerful your thoughts are. Oh, I'm stupid. I could never do that. Oh, I don't have enough money. Oh, I'm too old. Oh, I'm too fat. Oh, I'm not smart enough. Oh, I don't have a degree.
Right.
Guess what? The universe, your body, everything is going to come together to make that so. So
Absolutely.
why not tell yourself something better? Tell yourself the best of what you can be.
Yeah.
Right?
Absolutely.
And let that conspire to make you more than you are today.
Yeah. Well, it's working with the universe as a wholeness of one.
Yes.
So let's think about this for a second. This isn't about religion. This isn't about, I'm connected to God with spirituality. Let's really look at this. There's several scientific takes that has been now really expanded on and talked about, like Dr. Joe Dispenza, really able to.
Dr. Joe.
Yeah, Dr. Joe were able to give you the scientific backing of mathematics.
Yes.
Behind the science.
They've done brain scans in his events.
That's right.
They've done brain scans and actually see the hemispheres, merging and the brain scans change.
So let's talk about, like artists and performers. They go into this idealistic mindset, right? And then they play a piece of music or they paint an art. Even athletes who go into this zone of the so-called everything slows down, time slows down. And what it actually does is it takes everything that your mind is capable of with your intention and able to understand mathematically and understand to receive the information mathematically. Now, I've heard this all my life. You got to learn math. Why? Well, because the whole universe is, comprised of it. And I'm like, what does that even mean? Right? But now when you go into looking at Fibonacci, how the fractal constantly expands, these are things everybody needs to just take time and start reading about it, because this affects you, the bottom line. If you're getting up every day frustrated, not, really excited about your day, and you're going to work and you're going through the motions, you're looking at your watch for coffee breaks and so forth, that's your choice. You decide, the number one excuse is I have to make money. Well, yeah, so does everybody on this planet, because that's a system we're kind of developing. However, is making money only doing one thing? No, there's a 50,000, 50 million, however you want to put it, of generating income. Okay, so the key factor always comes down to the master, which is yourself. You're the battery source. You're the intention receiver. You're the intention projector. So with that being the case, the frequency, the energy vibration throughout the universe, even if you're not a musician, even if you're not an artist, you need to look at it, because you know why? You open your eyes, you see, you create the reality of what you see with these frequencies, and then you interpret with the intention and the power of words. That frequency vibrating going out goes into now this energy field. And
which
that
is,
is
which is the
so,
quantum field, not
well,
only
absolutely.
our home spaces, but the quantum field.
Right. And I will say this to give you a personal example of how different this energy field and frequency can affect in the so-called physical world versus the esoteric, mental, spiritual, however you want to go. There is so much information out there. Okay. So you need to just do diligently. Like I said, I recommend buying books along with, just searching on the internet, because I noticed the internet has taken out a lot of information that I used to know that was there, but it's not. There's got to be a reason behind it. So let's really dig deeper in finding out what is the information that's really important for us humans that we can get the most out of it. For me, I play baseball, right? We all know, we talked about it. And I would go, all out like I'm a 12-year-old kid in a little league. And of course, my body of, nearly a 60-year-old would always go, no, we're not doing that. So I go into sound therapy healing along with, massages and whatnot. I could tell you without a doubt that some of these nagging soreness and injuries would disappear between 2 to 4 days, opposed to 2 to 4 weeks.
Okay, I'm going to stop you right there, Jeff. I don't know if we want to go. It's 26. I mean, if you wanted to go 40 or what have you, but I want to put a pause right there to let folks know who are listening right now, because I want to share with them 2 or 3 frequencies. They can look up the Solfeggio, S-O-L, I think I wrote it here, F-E-G-G-I-O, if you're not a computer and just listening to the podcast. But there are several healing frequencies. So I'm going to jump right to the healing one, because, I told Jeff a few days ago, let's switch from 432 to 528 because it's a DNA repair, it's a healing frequency. So that's what we did. And if you've got a smart TV, or even if you don't have a TV, you can put it on your cell phone. You can just pull it up on your cell phone, 528 frequency or hertz. And it will just play that in the background on your little speaker, on your headphones, or what have you. But we put these frequencies to the test all the time. But the one that we have running in the background all the time on our smart TV that broadcasts throughout our house is 432. And, I can't, we get used to it because we live and both work out of the home. Excuse me. But anyone who enters our home is, without fail, always tells us, your home just feels so inviting and so calm, so peaceful. And I would like to think, and I do know that part of that is, how we intentionally utilize and display our thoughts and our words, etc. But I know the catalyst to that, in helping that, is this constant frequency. Do you want to talk about a little bit about 432 and how that relates to the tuning of music and what it was before? Jeff?
432 is a harmonization that is a frequency that subdivides mathematically in 3s and 6s and 9s. And this is the power of the 3 numbers that Tesla spoke of. Tesla was a very unique individual. If you do dig deep dives on his background, you will find that he was probably one of the most brilliant scientists and discoverer of our time, turn the century of 1800s to 1900s. However, due to greed, he was basically sequestered and removed, and they destroyed his projects and so forth. There's a lot of information that would just make your hair stand, that you think you're kidding, right? We have this technology, and yet Westinghouse and Edison didn't allow it. So with that being said, 432 is a harmonization that does not create any kind of fractal displacement. And what that means is like, okay, you get into a pool of warm water, you feel very relaxed. You jump into a pool of ice water, what do you feel? Immediately you get the jolt and the shock. So that would be the easiest way to compare. A432 hertz is the harmonization of cellular level. A440 hertz, which became the standard of tuning music, actually disharmonizes the human DNA in our cellular make. And what happened? Why was this an advent of our global structure? How did A440 became that? So we need to, really look at that and how that became the part of the music business that grew into this huge business between the 40s, 50s, and the 60s, and ultimately 70s and 80s and 90s blew up. The industry today that offers you commercial music is not even close to what it was at one time. At one time, it was extremely controlling, and it was filtered into the society to basically condition you into societal behavior. Now, as crazy as that may seem, it is not. Music tames the beast. That didn't just come out of nowhere. At one time, it was culturally accepted and a must that for young ladies to be proper, they need to play piano. Piano was the most popular instrument on the planet. In New York City in 1900, there was over 300 piano makers alone. So just gives you an idea how important frequency in music is. Now, take all that away, instrumentation-wise, now you get radio frequency with pre-recorded tracks that disharmonizes you. Oh, all of a sudden, you're not connecting anymore. You're not feeling as compassionate. You're not feeling nearly as neighborly. Everything becomes the self-importance, right? The competition, the superego. How do we generate that from the 60s, 70s, especially coming out of counterculture, especially coming out of all we need is love. We don't want war. And yet through the 70s, it just became overrun with self-indulgence of disco, cocaine, and craziness. This was done in the frequency level, and it was done on purpose. So without me going deeper on that dive, I definitely recommend everybody to really understand how vast. When I said earlier when we started this is like going into the ocean and go, oh yeah, there's water. It's so deep. It is so wide. It is so everything of us. One of the things I will tell you this, if you practice frequency and you understand frequency, you develop it into your system, you will soon recognize your connection to the oneness, the wholeness, and to your spouse, to your pets, to your kids, to your family, to your society will uplift 1,000 times, if not 1,000,000 times.
Absolutely. And we've seen it. It's just not theory for us. We've seen it. Have been practicing, intentional frequency for the past, I don't know how many years.
That's right.
And one thing I wanted to mention, Jeff, whether you buy into the intentional disharmony, etc., it's still real. But one very practical, on the practical side, we are all inundated, whether we think we're using AI or not, or we are, with Alexa and our smart TVs and our smartphones, and whether or not you're into automated other stuff, we have a lot of frequency. Oh, she just heard her name. Alexa, be quiet. She's talking to me. She heard her name. We have a lot of frequency that we can harmonize, or I would say displace, just simply by having these solfeggio frequencies of 432 as the basis, which is universal maximization or frequency. Because we don't realize it. I'll give you an example. I don't know if I mentioned this on the last episode, or maybe just talking to you, Jeff, but we had a power outage a couple of weeks ago with the weather we've had here in Houston, and I was just like taken aback once everything was off, especially with the refrigerator. But a combination of, you don't realize how many things are humming
That's right.
in the background with this electrical frequency. And we don't even, can begin to know what that's doing to us from us, from a energetic level. So, we're not going to unplug our lights and our refrigerators and our ice makers and all that any day soon. I know we're not. So to counter that, this is an easy kind of correction, energetic correction, if you will, to just simply play and have in the background this high vibrational frequency to up level our energetic field.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right. Well, I'll say we're running out of time, so I know that we're wrapping up. So the key factor that I would like to share with everyone before I sign off is that this is something that is very true. So in other words, this isn't something that is here later, gone later today. It's a fad. No, it's not. This is intention in the history and everything that we know of what reality really is. It's expansion of energy frequency. And the importance of this far greater than most people recognize because it was not taught this way. I was very fortunate as a musician that I was taught this, and then I explored it deeper. I've seen everything from levitation, moving objects across the room using sound frequency. So these are things that a lot of people are like, what? Is that just Hollywood or Las Vegas magic? What is going on? No, we live in a very magical kingdom, and you need to recognize this. You individually have the capability of creating anything you like using frequency and strategy, plan, intention, and then chemistry wise, like a puzzle, that formula.
Yes, frequency, thought, and intention. Frequency, thought, and intention. And the combination of those three, it's a power hitter. Because that power it's all around us, but it's in us because we are of it.
Yeah.
We are of it. We are of source. So how can we not be a co-creator and so very powerful?
So with that being said, we're streaming on 8 platforms live. Wow. We're going to, of course, redirect and share and so forth. If you find this topic extremely intoxicating and you want more information, ask your questions. I will do my best to direct you to places that you may be able to find some very interesting answers. I would definitely always recommend Dr. Emoto's book on water experiment. That was such a key to me because, we're predominantly as human beings, water, biological beings are a huge amount of water here. So these are things. I have personal experiences, of course, because I've been in the music business, entertainment business, around, everything from classical music to the darkest, the death metal and so forth. And I can tell you straight up, the drama queens, the ones that always have issues are your heavy metal, angst-driven enthusiasts. And they're not aware that they're creating their own havoc. And that's the saddest part.
So it starts with raising your level of awareness. And we hope today that we've helped to raise your level of awareness through thought, through intention, and through frequency. And I just encourage you to go out and, our sign off for this year is to love more, give more, and be more. And maybe you can be more by tuning in to 432 Hertz with love, with intention, and with a high vibe frequency. We wish that for you. We wish you all the love, and we will see you next week. Let us know if there's some topics that you'd like to hear. We are open, excited, and we'll be prepared to share with you everything that we can. Have a magical, wonderful, high vibe weekend, and we'll see you next Friday.
Don't forget, go to Amazon, get the book.
Get the book.
See about what's going on.
Yeah, thanks, Jeff, for that plug.
Miracles Online, people.
Miracles Online. I love you, Jeff. I love you all.